Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on recycling in nature. Over the next 2 lessons, we will be learning about 2 of the most important cycles that exist in nature: the carbon cycle and the nitrogen cycle. In our last lesson, we learned about food chains and food webs. We learned how to classify organisms in food chains into trophic levels. We also learned that food webs are a better but more complicated way of looking at relationships between what organisms eat and also what eats them. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on the carbon cycle. Let us get started. Carbon is a vital element for living organisms. In fact, all of the main molecules of life are based on carbon atoms. The carbon cycle is a natural process that cycles carbon through living organisms and the environment. Carbon exists in large pools in the form of carbon dioxide in the air and dissolved in the water of rivers, lakes, and seas. The carbon in the air is removed by green plants through the process of photosynthesis. When plants are eaten by animals, and in turn, those animals are eaten by predators, the carbon is passed on through the bodies of both. By this process, carbon is removed from the environment. When plants respire, they release some carbon back into the atmosphere. When animals respire or breathe, they release carbon back into the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. When plants and animals die, decomposers begin to break down their bodies. When these microbes respire, they also release carbon back into the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. Once this carbon is back in the atmosphere, it is ready to be taken up once again by plants through photosynthesis. Students, let us do an activity to review what we have just learned about the carbon cycle. Please draw a picture of what the carbon cycle looks like using the processes and stages we have just discussed.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. I am sure you were able to draw very detailed carbon cycles. Your cycles should look something like this. Carbon dioxide is present in the air and in the water. Plants absorb it through photosynthesis. Animals eat plants, and then predatory animals eat plant-eating animals. Plants and animals both respire, releasing carbon and carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. When plants and animals die, decomposers break down their bodies. Carbon dioxide is also released back into the atmosphere through this process. In addition to the processes we have already discussed, carbon dioxide is released back into the atmosphere when something that has been living is burnt. This includes wood, straw, or fossil fuels made from plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. This process of burning and releasing carbon dioxide is called combustion. For millions of years, the amount of carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere was matched by the amount being dissolved in the seas and being absorbed by plants. Therefore, the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere stayed relatively the same year after year. However, a huge rise in human activity has created a situation in which there is now more carbon dioxide being produced. We burn fuels to run our vehicles, to provide heat and electricity to our homes, and to cook our food. Natural sinks cannot keep up with this increased production of carbon dioxide, so the levels are building up. Students, how is this buildup of carbon dioxide affecting Earth and its surrounding atmosphere?
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, students. It is generally believed that the buildup of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is contributing to the greenhouse effect, or global warming. High levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere prevent heat from radiating away from the Earth's surface. This causes the surface temperature of the Earth to rise, which alters ecosystems, water levels, and weather. Global warming is also causing the ozone to deteriorate. The ozone is a part of the atmosphere that protects the Earth from harmful ultraviolet light from the sun. This increases the risk that people will develop skin cancer and eye damage in addition to global warming concerns. A factor that is contributing to the carbon dioxide surplus problem is large-scale global deforestation. Large numbers of trees are being cut down for lumber and to clear space for building, and not nearly enough trees are being replanted. The dead vegetation that is left behind is broken down by decomposers, creating carbon dioxide. In some cases, the trees are being cut down and burned in order to clear the land for farming. This process is called slash and burn farming. The land that is cleared is only fertile for a short period of time, and the combustion of the trees produces a large amount of carbon dioxide. Other factors contributing to the greenhouse effect include an increase in cattle rearing, which results in an increase in the production of methane gas, and an increase in the use of chemicals that are used in refrigerators, freezers, and aerosol cans. In today's lesson, we learned about the carbon cycle. We learned how carbon are cycled through the living organisms and the environment. We also learned that humans are currently producing more carbon dioxide than the natural system can maintain. This situation is causing global warming. This is all for our lesson today. Until next time, thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.